Have you experienced the awesome power of the Panasonic Real 3DO system? Obviously.
Presenting 3DO, the most advanced home gaming system in the universe. It's time to put away your toys.
3DO from Panasonic, Gold Star, and Creative Labs. A new low price and free games.
Mind-blowing graphics of Panasonic Real 3DO. 3DO.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3DO Experience, the 3DO retrospective podcast where we talk about all things 3DO, the 3DO company, and everything in between. I am Bill, and this is Threk. How you doing, Threk?
Oh, Bill, it's weirdly warm here. I don't like it. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It was like in the 50s here, and I'm all for that. So
It's 60, and I'm like, I don't like this.
I'll trade. I'll take
It's
it.
it's the winter time. I'm used to being cold, so I just want to be cold.
I just want to have all the snow melt and all the salt go away. And
I mean, most of that's gone at this point.
yeah, not here. Not here.
Yeah.
It's pretty gross. Oh man.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's been a busy couple of days.
if we're talking about gaming news, yeah.
Gaming news and just kind of like a lot of shit dropped like within like the last like 2 days, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, Lord.
Yeah. I guess we can let's try to knock it out. Going back to, did we talk about the Nintendo Gold Points thing last time?
I think we might have mentioned it, but we didn't go deep into it.
Okay, so basically, it's probably old news at this point, but Nintendo is ending their Gold Points rewards thing, which is when you would buy a game digitally or even physically, you would get a certain amount of gold points, which you could redeem for purchases on the Switch later. So if you if you got a $60 game, you would get 300 points, which equates to $3, which I believe is like a 5% return, which isn't the worst in the world. Like, I mean, there's some credit cards that do that. So, you know, it's weird. They're getting rid of it. They're getting rid of it in March. And then if you have any left, you have like another 12 months to use them up. So I think I have like $1, like $1 to $3 left. So I'll probably use it on something random.
I think I used mine on Fantasian.
So yeah, if you have any gold points, I would say, look for a way to spend them as soon as you can. This one thing I saw is kind of like a retro thing. Limited run games. Apparently, they were putting out some like NES games for like, Rugrats and all that stuff, like physical carts. Apparently those carts can damage your console. There were physical versions of Rugrats Adventures in Gameland and P.O. Pal, which were meant to be played on proper NES hardware. But apparently people found out that there was a small chance that due to bad voltage regulations, that those cartridges could damage your proper hardware. So Limited Run basically were found out that they cheaped out again, and got in trouble about it. And
his response was horrendous.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically it was they're going to be sending out new ones.
Well, I saw the guy, his like response was like, why do people care? It's not like anyone plays their games anyways. I saw that and I was just like, okay.
I mean, a lot of physical stuff, people buy it for the novelty of it. I get that, but if you're buying an NES cartridge, like a new NES cartridge, the idea is you want to play it on your NES. You know what I mean? Like, I have no desire to do that because, I can play it through other means. So weird, stupid.
Yeah.
A Limited Run fumbling the bag once again. As I've said before, I like their digital distribution. I think is actually like pretty decent, and allowing games like, say, RZ to exist. There are things about Limited Run I like, but when it comes to what they were known for, which is the physical product, tends to be really bad. Hey, you can watch my Plumbers Don't Wear Ties video where I unbox their re-release of it on 3DO if you want some more detail. So put the link in the description, damn it. Next is Nintendo's doing another collab with Lego, but they're doing like a Lego Game Boy, apparently, which is cool.
That's
Why
cool.
not?
I mean, I like building my Lego NES, so
yeah. I mean, I might. I don't really buy Legos, so I don't know.
buy them. I just get them gifted to me.
That's fair. I mean, if I got them gifted to me, I'd build them. So apparently they're doing a limited edition Lego Game Boy. It's coming out October the 1st and is only $60. Which I'm like, that's not a bad price for that.
No, that's not. I mean, the NES was like 70 to 80, I think. So
yeah, so that's cool. Let's see. There was a company called Retrobit Publishing. And they got in trouble because apparently they were doing proper re-releases of like older, like 16-bit games, and they were caught using fan translations and not crediting people for them.
That's another.
Yeah, and their response was, "We let our guard down," and I'm like, "What the fuck does that even mean? You knew what you were doing."
That's called, I don't have an answer, so I'm gonna give a bullshit answer.
Yeah, like people just don't want to say, I fucked up, I'm sorry. Like just say that. And it's like,
we didn't think anyone would notice.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of, I think it was one of the early, like, it might have been the Wii, like NES emulation. Like people dug into the code and found that they were using like the same emulator build code that was on like open source NES emulators. But why they did that was, I think they hired somebody who was doing NES emulation on the side to work for them to make it for like Nerd or whatever. So it reminded me of that a little bit. Let's see. Konami and Bloober Team. They're working on a new game following the success of Silent Hill. It is based on a Konami IP, but that's all we know.
Is it Silent Hill, perhaps?
I mean, if it's another Silent Hill, why wouldn't they just say it? You know?
I'm just wondering what they would possibly do differently. I don't know.
Well, I think the only other things I could think they would do are, I mean, they could do a Silent Hill 1 remake. I think Silent Hill 1 deserves a proper modern remake. None of that shattered. I like Shattered Memories, but again, that's unplayable on modern consoles too. So sure. like making Silent Hill 1 remake in the style of Silent Hill 2 remake, I think people would like that. They could be making an original Silent Hill, but I know Silent Hill F is still out there, presumably. So it's that. I don't know what else they could be doing. Like maybe
they're making
Castlevania?
Maybe. Surprised they're making the new Metal Gear.
They're making a Dance Dance Revolution game.
You say the funniest part is you say
they still make them.
I know they do. I was laughing because I'm thinking of the poor studio that made that shitty Silent Hill collection was like a Karaoke Revolution studio.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was true.
Yeah, they got fucking
poor hijinks. Yeah, they probably wouldn't do Bomberman because I think Hudson still lives Bomberman, or Konami what remains of yeah. So I mean, I'm just going to assume Silent Hill 1 remake. I heard rumors of a 3 remake, but I'm like, you can't do a 3 remake because 3 is a direct sequel to 1. You need to know 1 to know 3.
They throw a complete curveball and they remake The Room.
The Room's not bad. I'd vibe to that. Yeah.
Kind of like that because The Room, that is a game that has aged a lot better than people give it credit for.
Yeah. I think that game would be, it would be nice to see that game get a proper reevaluation, I think. So who knows? Let's see. Oh yeah, the next Nintendo Music app just added its 40th soundtrack. This is number 40. And it's what the fuck was it again?
It's a game that should have been there from the beginning of the launch.
Super Mario Brothers 2.
Great soundtrack, but why wasn't it there to begin with? Like so many of these, like they add them, like these should have been there at the start.
Oh yeah. To be fair, I think just about all of them could have been added at the start. Like when they get to 100, it's like these all feel like they could have been there at the very beginning.
Well, it's like because I remember a friend of the show and network, or one of our network collaborators, Jake from Press B to Cancel, he joked saying, "When are they going to add Buck Bumble?" And I was like, that's on Spotify. Like it's just straight up there.
Oh man, I don't understand. But yeah, like, so all their major consoles are represented here, except Virtual Boy. We don't have any Virtual Boy soundtracks. We should.
Yeah, give us Wario Land.
Give me Nestor's Funky Bowling.
I fucking love that game.
That is a first party game.
Just because it's so goofy. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
rarest Virtual Boy game I own.
Good for you. I'm proud of you. No Jack Brothers for you, you Atlas fan.
No, I don't have. I don't have a small fortune right now. So
Neither do I. Let's see. Okay, so I think all this stuff is more current. Xbox has delayed Fable to 2026. This happened literally today. They dropped a podcast where they talked about a bunch of other random stuff. I think they finally dated 33 Immortals for March. And yeah, Fable's getting delayed out to next year, which some people were kind of speculating was going to happen anyways. They showed some pre-alpha gameplay footage of it, which looks pretty sweet. It doesn't bother me that's getting delayed. I really don't care. Again,
Yeah, I mean,
it was another game that got announced way too fucking early back in like 2020, and they're, reaping what they sow, like, but to be fair, I still think all three are still suffering from that. Like Prime 4 still isn't released technically, and then Sony, I think like the big one's probably the Wolverine game that they announced like a couple years ago, and
the
we haven't
Wolverine.
we haven't heard a damn thing since.
They didn't even announce it. It got leaked. Like that's
everything gets leaked these days, but
Well, that was during the big Insomniac leak, because I remember the Wolverine game got leaked and everyone was like, "Why is it a stealth game?"
Yeah, so
the one character that should not be a stealth game.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I'm not worried about Fable at all. Like Playground's a pretty good studio. I know Eidos Montreal is assisting them. So
I think Eidos is probably doing the gameplay and Playground's making it look really pretty.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the footage, it does look really pretty. So I have a feeling they're trying to go for like almost like a Witcher 3 style when it comes to the gameplay and everything. I hope it's not a Witcher 3 clone. It doesn't need to be that.
Fable had its own style.
It needs to have a little bit of its own style. It needs to still have the comedy, and honestly, don't make it a huge game. Like, what's nice about the Fable games, from what I know, is that they're a lot smaller and a lot more approachable.
They're
so
manageable RPGs.
Yeah, so if it maxes out at like 35 hours, I think most people will be like perfect. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. So it doesn't need to be 100-hour RPG, but I have a feeling it's going to be. Which will be its own problem. Let's see. The rumors of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. Man, it's just piling up, because we got like the 3/4/25 thing. It got rated, I think, by the ESRB. They officially announced it. Like Tony Hawk's doing press stuff for it now, and we're all like, yeah, it's going to be 3+4 remastered, basically.
Yeah, which is fine.
Oh yeah, that's I believe that's going to be next week is when they officially announce it. I don't think it'll be shadow dropped next week. I don't think. I mean, it very well could be. And if it does, I'm gonna be like, motherfucker, because I'm kind of busy playing all this other stuff.
I know, right?
But it's an Activision game, so I think it'll most likely be in Game Pass. At least I hope it'll be in. 1+2 is still not in Game Pass.
Oh,
yeah. So maybe in the announcement they'll say like, oh, by the way, 1 and 2 is in Game Pass now. Go play it.
Yeah,
which would be nice because I would like to play it. I'm just waiting for the Game Pass drop. So, but yeah, 3+4. Those were the Tony Hawk games that I didn't play 1 or 2 a lot. So 3+4
I played 1 and 2
more exciting to me.
3 and 4, but I think
I played 3 and 4 more. So those are what I'm excited for.
Well, I had them on PS1 because that's how I got it into punk rock back in the day.
Yeah,
and Crazy Taxi.
The first time I ever played Tony Hawk was at a friend's house. Like he invited a bunch of us from like classes, like elementary school, to go to like do laser tag, which was awesome. But before we went to his house, and it was either a GameCube or a PS2. I can't remember which one, but he had Tony Hawk 3 running, and it was like the coolest shit I had ever seen at that point. And then I was able to find Pro Skater 3, and I played quite a bit of it. So Pro Skater 3 and American Wasteland are the ones I know the most. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's cool that that's happening. It's about time we got that. Who knows if they'll do the Thug games? I kind of doubt it.
Yeah.
Hell,
see.
just do Thug 3. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Though I'm going to be curious to who's making 3+4 because Vicarious Visions doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, they're Blizzard, whatever now.
Yeah. So is it Blizzard making these? Did they get the guys of Vicarious Visions to be within Blizzard being like, hey, can you guys like come over here and make Tony Hawk 3+4 real quick? Because if they did, that would be amazing.
It's either going to be that or they're going to let one of their Call of Duty slaves like go and
Raven software.
Raven, Beanox.
Beanox, I could see Beanox doing it. I think they did Tony Hawk games at one point, didn't they?
They probably did the Wii ports. Or actually, no, Vicarious did the Wii ports, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm sure Beanox did one at some point. I still think the funniest thing Beanox ever made was the B-movie game, which had to have been intentional. There's no way that wasn't.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool though. I'm up for more Tony Hawk.
Yeah, Beanox did work on the 1+2 remake.
Oh, okay. They probably assisted Vicarious then.
Yes, that's what they did. So yeah, my guess is it's probably Beanox doing it. That would be my guess.
I still would love to see the Blizzard logo pop up before it.
I want to see the Blizzard logo now.
It's like playing Rock and Roll. It's like when you play Rock and Roll Racing and Blizzard pops up and you're like, wow, that's such a weird.
And you're like, oh yeah, they did make that. Yeah.
Yep.
That arcade collection.
Mm-hmm.
That should be in Game Pass as well. Anyways, the last thing which happened earlier today. This one sucks, man. God,
this one came out of nowhere.
I feel like we all suspected they were going to do something stupid, but not to this degree.
I will say though, I did see a lot of people who were freaking out that Xenoblade was no longer going to be a thing. I'm like, guys, wrong monolith.
I thought we had settled this.
No,
God.
You'd be amazed. I saw like 3 people being like, "R.I.P. Xenoblade," and I'm like, guys, it's not the same company.
Nintendo doesn't shut down studios. They don't. I don't think they've ever shut down a studio ever. I can't think of one.
They don't shut them down. They either weren't owned by Nintendo or they restructure them into something else.
Well, because I know it was quite a few years ago they restructured EPD into like all the various teams. There's NAT, the North American Nintendo, which makes like games here and there, but they were never like a consistent one. I think Nerd made games for a while, but now they handle all the NSO stuff.
Yeah, because I believe they merged EAD and R&D 1 into EPD, which I think is now like SPD or something. Like
yeah, and there's like 10 teams or something like split up within that do all like there's like the Mario Kart team, the 3D Mario team, the 2D Mario, like all this, like the Zelda team, like all this. Like I watched a video where somebody broke it down and it is very complex, but that's why when Nintendo releases a game, they're just like, oh, EPD made it. Yeah. And then we have to be like, oh, it's this game, so it's probably like we have to do the work. But
it's like when Rockstar says Rockstar Studios made it, and it was, even though it was probably Rockstar North.
Well, they've merged all the Rockstar teams together. So like San Diego, North, Leeds, Vancouver, like all of them are just kind of under Rockstar now, which is a shame, but we're kind of past that era where they would have different studios working on different projects. Now it's like for GTA 6, like all fucking hands are on deck for that game. So
yeah,
for better or for worse. Anyways, so Warner Brothers, they have closed 3 of their studios down. So
most notable was Monolith Productions.
Monolith Productions, which is known for not for Xenoblade, but they were known most for the Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War games. Which
they made Fear, I believe.
Yes, they made the original. They made the first 2 Fears. They made both Condemned games. They made Gotham City Imposters, an underrated game. I'll die on that fucking hill. They made like an Alien vs. Predator game on PC, as you said, Blood. It's just a lot of kind of random stuff. But then around like the 360 PS3 era, they started really coming into their own. The Middle Earth Shadow games were really popular. I mean, they made the Nemesis system, which Warner Brothers patented, which is a damn shame because it's a really cool gameplay device that could be used in so many capacities. But I was doing a little research into it, and the patent that Warner Brothers has on the Nemesis system, it only exists to 2035, and that's if they decide to keep paying the fees on it. So there's a good chance with all this going on, they could just say, fuck the patent, and then just let it go, and then people can just start using it now, which would be a benefit. That would be probably the best thing I could see coming out of this, right? But anyways, yeah, they closed Monolith, which means the Wonder Woman game they were working on has been officially canceled. But from what I know, that game was in like a bit of development hell. Like I think it got rebooted at least once in the studio, you know?
That unfortunately was just a game that I think was doomed from the start, because Wonder Woman is such a difficult property.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to get right.
I mean, look how long it took to get a movie.
How true. Yeah, let's see. Player First Games went under, and they were the Multiverses team, which that doesn't surprise me at all, unfortunately. Considering that Multiverses just really didn't do all that well. You know?
I didn't know it was a thing. So
you knew Multiverses was a thing, right?
Maybe.
Man, you do live under a rock.
I don't really follow games that don't interest me. So if they, like straight up,
I mean, like, I just follow gaming news, so I just hear about this shit, you know.
I don't follow the news in general because I try to stay off the internet when I don't have to be. So I think I miss a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I guess I'm the terminally online one here. And then the other one they shut down was Warner Brothers San Diego, which, as far as I know, they didn't have any games attached to them. They were only formed in 2019. So my guess is
they were support.
Yeah, probably a support studio for, say, like Mortal Kombat 1 or Suicide Squad or whatever, right?
They were probably kind of similar to like how Sony has their Forster City studio, which basically just does assist work for every other PlayStation studio that still exists.
Yeah, and I'm sure working at an assist studio probably isn't that bad of a gig, you know, because it's like
Ubisoft has like 30 of them.
Well, think about it. You don't have to come up with the ideas, and then they'll just say like, "Oh, can you do this thing for this bigger studio?" And you're just like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah,
you know, it's just like you just put your nose to the grindstone and do some work, and it's probably not that bad. Like I imagine it may not be the most steady work, but you know, the tech world, the video game world is not that most steady when it comes to employment, anyways. Unfortunately,
so
but it's a shame. Go ahead.
I was going to say, at this point, WB is literally like down to WB Montreal, Rocksteady, and NetherRealm, I think, are like the main ones.
I think that's it. And Rocksteady's kind of hanging on by a thread.
Well, it's funny. A friend of the show, Will, had posted like I saw him comment like that Rocksteady survived, and I think Berger had responded saying they're probably a shell of their former selves. And
I mean, I think they've been a shell of their former selves since Arkham Knight.
I'm pretty sure the majority of the people that worked on Asylum, City, and Night all left sometime after Night, and like Suicide Squad was completely a bare bones team. I guess that's why they were struggling so much with that game.
Yeah, and those guys, they made their a new studio called, I think it's 100 Star Games. So they're working on something. Who knows if we'll ever even see it. Yeah, as far as I know, the Warner Brothers studios that still exist, according to Wikipedia, there's Portkey Games, which is a publishing label for the Wizarding World, which is like the Harry Potter stuff.
Yep.
Well, let's see. Avalanche still exists.
Oh yeah, they own Avalanche. Forgot about that.
Yeah, they own Avalanche. They made Hogwarts Legacy, and that game was a big success. And who knows if they're working on a sequel. I imagine, yeah, Avalanche is fine. NetherRealm, which does Mortal Kombat. I'm imagining NetherRealm is just fine. I know Mortal Kombat 1 did really well, but I think Mortal Kombat's in a weird spot where they probably need to let it rest for a few years and kind of figure out what they want to do with it now.
The thing about NetherRealm to me is like, I'm pretty sure that studio will be around as long as Ed Boon feels like making games.
Yeah, well, and Mortal Kombat is such a popular, beloved franchise. Like, it needs to exist. Warner Brothers isn't going to let Mortal Kombat die. They can't.
I'm sure Warner Brothers is smart enough to realize that like they can't make Mortal Kombat without Ed Boon. Like, it just won't happen.
Yeah, it would feel wrong. And as far as I know, Boone's going to make him till he dies. So
pretty much,
he probably has no desire. And yeah, and like with where Mortal Kombat is, like they could do they could probably start doing like, say, remasters of like, say, Shaolin Monks, or like a remake of Mythology Sub-Zero, or they could start doing weird stuff, like make it good. Like they could start doing weird stuff while they figure out what they want to do for the next Mortal Kombat game.
Just give us a disc that's nothing but the cutscenes, and that'll be perfectly fine.
Of Special Forces, particularly.
Ugh. I mean, that game needs a lot more than just a remaster.
I still think probably the smartest thing to do would be do a really nice, hefty remake of Shaolin Monks.
I mean, that's the
do that. That would
everyone loved.
Yeah, I mean, Ed Boon's wanted to do it for a long time, so
anything to get Scorpion going. Get over here, bitch.
Exactly. Though I had heard a rumor a while ago that they may be working on a DC game, which says to me Injustice 3, which people have been wanting for a long time anyways. And it might be time to do an Injustice 3.
I'm all for an Injustice 3, but at the same time, like, I don't want to have to read another fucking comic series to understand what's going on. Because the Injustice comics, like, it drove me nuts.
Yeah. We'll see what they do. But yeah, Avalanche is good. NetherRealm is good. Yeah, Rocksteady is still there. But as far as we know, they are working on a single-player Batman game, like another Arkham game.
Which is interesting because
it's going to be
Montreal.
Oh, I heard Batman Beyond is what they might be doing, like Batman Beyond.
Cool. I'm not sure how many people nowadays remember Batman Beyond, but
yeah, you have to explain Batman Beyond, which I don't want to do.
DC themselves don't know what to do with Batman Beyond, so
yeah. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens to Rocksteady. Oh yeah, they own Traveler's Tales.
Oh yeah, they need someone to pump out Lego game after Lego game.
Yeah, and Traveler's Tales, as long as they're still doing all right, making the Lego games, they'll be just fine.
I'm pretty sure John Burton's still there.
Though I remember when the Skywalker saga came out, like a bunch of Traveler's Tales employees were going on about the awful working culture there and the crunch time and everything, and nobody gave a shit. I specifically remember like a bunch of Traveler's Tales people tried to come out about how awful working at Traveler's Tales was, and nobody gave a shit. Not a soul.
Because everyone probably went, yeah, Lego company, no one cares.
Exactly. Which is a shame. But to be fair, they haven't made a game since Skywalker Saga, I believe, which was 2022.
Yeah, because the Lego.
Oh, they did. They did Horizon, the Lego Horizon game.
Right. Oh yeah. That's still a weird thing.
Yeah, I think we all kind of forgot that happened.
Well, the most significant thing about it was it was announced at a Nintendo conference, and everyone was like, "What?"
Yeah, and then that was kind of it. Everyone just went, and then we kind of moved on with our lives because who fucking gives a shit?
Yeah, it's a Lego game. They're fine for whoever likes them.
I mean, Skywalker Saga was pretty neat.
I don't know. Me and Matt tried playing it, and then we fell asleep in the middle of the game. Or at least I did. Yeah. I'm not sure if he did or not.
Actually, Lego Horizon was not Traveler's Tales. It was Guerrilla Games and Studio Gobo.
Oh.
Guerrilla Games fucking made it. But
Guerrilla's like, we can do it ourselves.
Though I imagine I'm probably not the first person to go like, oh, Traveler's Tales didn't make that. Because my guess is it plays just like the other Lego games. I mean, there are some more unique Lego games these days. Like there's like that Lego Horizons racing game, which is kind of cool.
Lego City was cool. That was a fun game.
Yeah, that was Traveler's Tales though. There's that Lego Builder's Journey, which is like a Lego like puzzle game, like an indie puzzle game, which is pretty cool. So, but yeah, anyways, they own Traveler's Tales. Warner Brothers Montreal, which did everyone's favorite game in the world, Gotham Knights, and Batman Arkham Origins.
Oh yeah, they did make that.
Yeah,
that was such a game that existed.
Oh yeah. They were pushing it real hard when it came out.
I bought it and I played it and I was like, it's a game.
I've not played it.
It's not the worst thing ever, but it's certainly not the best either.
Chris tried to get me to play it, but we didn't do it. But yeah, then they did some work on Suicide Squad, and I guess they're working on something.
I heard they were making another Batman, but who knows?
They might be. Who knows? And then let's see. There's Warner Brothers Boston. What the fuck have they made? They made Batman Arkham Underworld, which is a phone game, and then Game of Thrones Conquest, which is also a phone game.
Great job, guys.
I love it. Warner Brothers New York. What do they do? They work with game developers to build online features and web-based communities for video games.
It's like Sony Studio London who like made that fucking the PS3 Sims thing. PlayStation Home. Yeah, that.
Yeah, but they don't really have any game credits to their name, at least none that I see. They're in like Albany. I don't fucking know. And then there's Warner Brothers San Francisco, which doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. So there you go. So yeah, so as far as we know, like Avalanche, NetherRealm, Rocksteady, Traveler's Tales, and Montreal are like the big boys that are still left. And like, I don't think Avalanche is going to go anywhere, especially when Hogwarts Legacy was such a big hit for them. If Traveler's Tales keeps pumping out the Lego games and people buy them and like them, I'm sure they'll be fine. Rocksteady, I am genuinely worried about, but we'll have to see what they do with that Batman game. NetherRealm will be fine because everyone likes Mortal Kombat. So
yeah,
not worried about them. But I imagine NetherRealm may take a bit of a break from Mortal Kombat and like either do some remasters, do some spin-offs, do an Injustice or something, and just kind of let the series breathe. Because I think when Mortal Kombat 1 happened, I think people were surprised it happened so soon after 11 because 11 was so good. It's like, do we really need another one already? You know?
Yeah. I mean, people bought it, so.
Yeah, I still haven't bought it yet, but I'm still working my way through 10, just doing the story mode. So
same. Honestly, well, I finished 10. I haven't finished 11, but I also
yeah. Well, and when I was playing 10, I wasn't a huge fan of it compared to 9, like control wise. I didn't like it.
Yeah, the game it plays more like Injustice than it does 9.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just jump to 11, and maybe I'll enjoy that more.
10 has a really good story, though.
What I saw of it, I enjoyed, but it's one of those like I just need to take a day and just play the whole thing. So, which I'll do maybe after my never-ending Persona 4 playthrough.
Yeah.
Well, it'll end at some point. So
yeah, you're getting there. You're getting there.
Yeah. Stay tuned for our bonus Persona 4 episode that will be coming in the future.
Yep, it'll be 5 hours long.
Just listen to it when you're at Juness.
Every day is great.
Is great at your Juness.
She must be protected at all cost.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So now we're finally going to talk about the game for this week. So if you've made it to the 32-minute mark, I'm happy for you. So we're going to be talking about a game called Cyberia. No, it does not take place in the dead cold of Russia, but it is a weird science fiction action adventure game originally released for MS-DOS and then came out later for the PlayStation, the Sega Saturn, the 3DO, and the FM Towns console. Apparently, it got a sequel in 1995 called Cyberia 2 Resurrection. What the most
Resurrection, the most
of all time.
Overused.
Yeah,
what's interesting.
So this was developed by Xatrix Entertainment,
yes,
or Gray Matter Studios.
They later Gray Matter is an interesting one. They made that Wolfenstein game on PS2 that's really good.
Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Yeah, that one.
They didn't make the original version, did they?
Yeah, they made the PC version, I believe. The original.
Well, holy fuck. Yeah, Return to Castle Wolfenstein's really good. And they also did Call of Duty United Offense, which was the expansion pack for the original Call of Duty on PC, which I think adds like the Battle of the Bulge and all that cool stuff. But before that, when they were Xatrix, they did a mission pack for Quake 2. They did some game called Kingpin Life of Crime, which looks like the most 1999 game of all time. And a great series of games called The Redneck Rampage, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, deer hunting, redneck deer hunting. And that cover is the coolest thing.
Oh, yeah. So what's really funny is I was looking at release dates. Did you notice that the European 3DO version came out like 2 years before we got it over here?
My guess is that might be like a weird factual error. Like, I don't think that lines up.
I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, because that's the thing. They don't cite where they found that. You know what I mean?
True. I do have to say though, like, this is one of the most misleading covers I've ever seen because this game is nothing like what I thought. I thought this was
don't say.
I thought this was going to be another shooty bang bang space game. No,
It kind of is.
it's there, but it's only one tiny part of this game.
Yeah. It's also this game was published by Interplay of all fucking people.
Interplay published everything.
Interplay is their own episode because Interplay is a deep web of all kinds of shit that is just like, it's crazy to think they don't exist anymore, or they technically still
do, but like they're a shell of their former selves, but they've somehow survived.
It's very weird. They're a very weird place, but we don't have to go there. Apparently, what's the last thing they released? No, that can't be it. Hold on. I'm just trying to see what was the last goddamn thing they ever released. At least by this point. Oh yeah, they were working on Earthworm Jim 4 for the Amiga.
Yeah,
I forgot that was a thing. Oh, and it just says reportedly canceled. You don't say.
Well, there was also they were making that weird Fallout MMO because even though they sold the Fallout franchise, they were like, we can still make Fallout.
Yeah, it's like Black Isle Studios, right?
Well, they closed Black Isle, and then the people from Black Isle formed Obsidian. But then they sold the Fallout because they were in bankrupt. They were in danger of going bankrupt. They sold off the Fallout brand, which was by and large their most popular thing at the time, to Bethesda. But then they, for some reason, thought that they still had the rights to publish and make Fallout games without Bethesda.
And that didn't go over too well, did it?
No, it didn't. And then they brought back Black Isle Studio and announced a game, and then nothing ever came of it, and then the studio closed again.
Yeah, let's see. They released Battle Chess Game of Kings in 2015, just another version of fucking Battle Chess. And then that Kingpin game I mentioned, apparently at the end of 2023, they ported it to Steam called Kingpin Reloaded, an enhanced re-release of a classic tale of revenge. Take control of a street gang and order your recruits to attack, defend, or even do little safe cracking to pick up some much needed cash. It's mostly negative on Steam.
That's great.
Oh my god! And literally, people were just like, "I just wish Night Dive did this."
My favorite part is the fact that like
probably doesn't. About if Night Dive did this, it'd be fine.
The funniest, I mean, Night Dive made PO functional, but that's
apparently was done by a company called Slipgate, which I guess are trying to be like a Night Dive, but they're just not nearly as talented. Well, they made Ghost Runner. People like Ghost Runner.
It's funny because like Interplay's two most well-known franchises, not counting Earthworm Jim, were easily Fallout and Baldur's Gate, and both of which are just doing so much better under different hands right now.
Well, Baldur's Gate has a weird history when it comes to like the rights and all that stuff and the people who've made them. It's like moved around so much.
Yeah, because BioWare made Baldur's Gate, and then it kind of got left at Interplay, and then Interplay kind of made a bunch of games, and then they were making 3, and then 3 got canceled, and then another company made 3, and it was a success. Kind of like Fallout.
Yeah. Though Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 were still successful, and they established BioWare,
they were made by BioWare.
Yeah. Apparently, the first Baldur's Gate in Japan was published by Sega.
Huh. The more you know.
Sure, why not? Anyways, yeah, Interplay. That's a web we don't need to weave. Okay, we could keep going.
That'll be another episode at a later time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, this game, composed by Thomas Dolby. You told me that today.
Yeah, because
She Blinded Me with Science guy did the music for this, even though when I was emulating it, there really wasn't a lot of music. Like the game surprisingly didn't run well on emulation. I was using 40O. So I don't know if I got a bad ROM or something.
I don't know. So I found that out strictly by I was reading the back. And one of the little bullet points is music and sound effects by Thomas Dolby's Headspace.
That sounds about right. I mean, he has credits on other video games.
Yeah, he has a few.
He did Double Switch. Sure. Hey. A game called The Dark Eye, and coincidentally another game called Obsidian.
Wait, if he did Double Switch, did he record that weird punk rock band in the hotel?
Probably. He probably wrote the music for it.
I hope so. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, the hyperactive guy did that. That's amazing. Thomas Dolby's great. So yeah, this game. How would you describe this game?
Functional but boring as shit. Legitimately. Like I played
Okay,
it,
we'll see y'all next week.
I played the whole thing and I was like, this plays fine, but I'm so bored.
The first like half hour, I was like, this is fucking ridiculous, and I kind of love it.
Well, I liked where it was going story-wise, but anytime you actually had to play it, I was like, when do we get to the game? This is the game. And I was like, great.
So, okay, so you start out and you're playing as like, I can only describe as like Duke Nukem in spandex. And
yeah.
And you're roaming around this like underground base or whatever. And it's like if Resident Evil was a cinematic platformer, because like
kind of
it's like pre-rendered, right? So you'll be at like an intersection, right? And you're just like, oh, which way do I go? And then you push left or right on the D-pad, and he just like juts there in like one frame, which made me laugh. So I'm like, this is fucking great.
Oh,
and then
did you notice the first elevator was spelled wrong?
No, I didn't notice that.
I noticed it. Like they misspelled elevator.
I love that. It's amazing. And yeah, so it's like you're doing this like 3D pre-rendered thing where you're just kind of running around and then some woman is just like, hey, you take out those jets or whatever, and then you get into a turret, and then it turns into like almost like a rail shooter,
yeah,
or like an arcade light gun thing, which is fine. Right, it went on for way too long.
It functioned. It just was like, I'm like,
why was it like 10 minutes?
Yeah,
or whatever. It's like, can we get out of this? How many fucking planes do these guys have? And then you get out, and then she makes out with you for some reason, and then she fucking dies, and then you get captured, and then you free yourself, and it's like, what is going on?
The plot for this game is like if the Cold War never ended and Russia created some weird like cyber weapon.
There's a lot of media from that era of immediate post Cold War that's like, no, Russia's gonna reignite the Cold War, or like the Cold War never ended or whatever.
I'm pretty a lot of this
like weird Western, it's a lot of weird Western power fantasy stuff, because I think we realized ending the Cold War was the wrong way to go, but that's another topic. That's geopolitics. We don't have to get into that here.
Well, it's funny because like the title Cyberia is technically a play on Cyberia, where it's this is the Russian super weapon Cyberia, and it was created in Cyberia.
Yeah, Metal Gear.
Like, the plot is ridiculous.
Does Kojima play this? This feels Kojima.
You know, my favorite part is the tagline for this game is "Danger never looks so good," and I'm like,
nothing about this game looks good.
I read that. I'm like, maybe when it came out, not anymore.
I mean, no offense, but it's better than D.
True. I mean,
but that's a low bar to cross.
There's more gameplay in this, and that's saying something.
Because so you're doing these like weird, like linear on foot sections where you don't have control. It's just like a point and click.
Yeah, it's like a weird hybrid between point and click adventure, puzzle game, shooter, platform-ish thing. Like,
it's very weird. And like, it's nice that there's like a help so you can like see like your controls, but those don't help very much. There's a generous checkpoint system for the on foot stuff, which I liked. Because there's like that one point where you go through the door and then you're like, oh, which way do I go? And it's like, oh, let me go this way. And then like the door opens behind you and somebody just shoots you dead. And you're like, what? And then it's like, oh, I have to go this way and lock the door naturally, right? And then you have to do it and orient yourself to where you peek around the boxes so that the guy that triggers the guy to come check. And then he comes around the corner And again, you have to time it just right to where, because you can't aim. So you just have to wait for him to line up so you can shoot him and he'll fucking die.
Yeah.
It is so, it's like Dragon Slayer. You know what I mean?
The story is ridiculous. It's
But with
not
none
quite-
of the charm.
No, it's not like Battle Tanks where it's like the greatest stupid story ever.
Well, that had gameplay.
Well, yeah, that's a good game. It just happens to have a ridiculous,
Yeah.
amazingly ridiculous story attached.
And that's the
to
thing. Like Cyberia, it starts so kind of insane. You're like I kind of want to see where this goes, but
Yeah, I was
its
interested.
charm,
in
its
it.
charm loses you pretty fast, or at least it did for
Because
me.
There'll be points where you're like going down this long hallway, and it's just you keep clicking, and it like juts forward slightly, and I'm like, why couldn't we just walk forward? Like, why is it so slow? Like,
Or there'll be certain points where it's like, okay, choose which way to go, and he'll go like this, or like hard to the right,
yeah,
or straight, or like slightly to the left. And it's like, what the fuck difference does it make?
you're just doing the cha-cha slide over there, and it's like,
Yeah.
like I might sound extremely negative, but my reasoning for that is because if you look closely at my copy,
You paid $100 for that?
yeah, because I was stupid a couple of years ago, and I was like, "Oh, it's a mint copy of a boxed 3DO game. That must be 100." And I looked.
I
on
mean,
eBay,
it looks nice and pristine.
Oh, it was sealed when I bought it.
Oh, okay. You
It's
broke the seal on that.
Yeah, because I like to play my games.
Yeah, that's fair. And yeah,
Um,
seeing like a jewel case copy is like $15.
I know. I'm very salty.
Oh no. Oh
Yeah.
no.
I also bought this like 2020, so that was peak stupidity video games, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I still overpay. Yeah, it's a beautiful copy, but this game is not worth $100.
No, I mean, sorry. No, I ended up emulating it on 4DO. For some reason, I was having audio issues. I don't know why. It's the only game I've emulated on 4DO that had any sort of problems.
There's
So
a jewel
I guess
case
it's the first time
copy
for everything, right?
sitting at the retro game store I go to. It's been there since I moved here, and I think it's still the asking price is $20. And every time I see it, I just kind of stare at it and just go, yeah.
You could have saved yourself $80.
I mean, at the time I bought this, I had like 3 long boxes, so I was kind of like, ooh, long box, I want it.
I get it. I get it. Like whenever I go to the retro game store, if I see long box 3DO games that are not a bad price, I get tempted. But I go like, is it worth it? Probably not.
That's the reason I own Night Trap on 3DO, because I saw the long box and it was like $70, and I was like,
that's not a bad price for that.
yeah, it probably would have been like 200 now if I saw it, but
Yeah. I think the re-release kind of bumped the price on that, unfortunately. But yeah, this motherfucker. Yeah. So anyways, you do all that on foot stuff, and then you get into the plane, and then it turns into a rail shooter, basically. Like,
yeah, and I was like, oh, this is what I thought.
what was the Namco one we played?
Starblade.
Starblade. It reminded me a little bit of Starblade. A little bit of Starblade, a little bit of what was the other one?
Shockwave.
Shockwave. Yeah, reminded me a little bit of both of those. And when I got to it, I was like, okay, I could probably hang with this. I found it surprisingly difficult to do. I mean, I just left everything at like normal settings. I didn't adjust the settings or anything. But yeah, it was like a rail shooter. It was fine. But then, yeah, it's just you're in that rail shooter section for a long time before you ever land. And then you're in that like, was it that weird like rock planet or something?
Yeah. Like this plot is absurd with how all over the place it is.
So why don't you explain the plot, Bill?
Let me bring up the synopsis, because I
Please
can't remember this off the top of my head. Good old Wikipedia. Cyberia is set in the near future of the year 2027. Holy fuck.
That is the near future.
I didn't even think about that when I played it. Now that I read that, I'm like,
in 2 years, we're all gonna look like Duke Nukem wearing spandex. I can't wait.
Dear Lord. 5 years after the global economic collapse,
God damn,
this
that's
game was
almost
a little
poignant. That's almost
game-
poignant.
when I was playing this, I was like, holy fuck, I did not intend for this. When I picked this one.
Yes,
the
you
world
did.
is the world is under domination of two opposing superpowers: the First World Alliance in the West and the Cartel in the East.
The cartel's not whatever. Keep going.
Yeah. William Devlin, the leader of the FWA, receives word that a devastating weapon is being produced in a secret base in Siberia, referred to as the Cyberia complex.
Why would they change the name of Cyberia if it's in Siberia? Like, spell it that way.
Because cyber sounds cool.
Sure, whatever. And FWA to me sounds like an indie pro wrestling, like the Florida Wrestling Association.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm seriously surprised it's not like Cyberia X, because the X makes it sound cool.
Cyberia X.
Curious to unravel the mysteries of this weapon, Devlin pardons a cyber hacker named Zebulon Pike Zach Kingston, and charges him with the task of infiltrating the complex and retrieving intel on the weapon being produced there. Already becoming aware of Cyberia's secret operations, the cartel seizes control of the complex with the same goal as the FWA, which is to discover the nature of the superweapon being produced by a third party. The Russians, I guess.
Probably.
Zach is scheduled to the word. My brain broke, but he's scheduled to meet up with an oil rig.
Rendezvous.
That's the word. My brain is fried right now because of this shit.
Rendezvous. The Siberian weapon worked.
I guess. Rendezvous with an oil rig run by the FWA contracted. I'm just picturing like Hulk Hogan, just like being like, brother.
I'm gonna blow up the West, brother. I ate too much sushi.
The game would be so much more entertaining.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard like that recorded footage of like when Hulk Hogan said the N-word or everything. Like he also talked about like having gas from eating too much sushi.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this shit kills me every time. Oh my god. And he talked about having like an 8-inch dick, and then in the court he's like, that was Hulk Hogan, not Terry Bollea.
I love celebrity.
God, he's such a shit bag.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Are the funniest.
Well, like Hulk Hogan was always a shit bag. Like if you listen to wrestling shoot interviews from people at the time, like most of them are like, yeah, that guy was an ass. It's just an awful human being.
Where was
no
I?
respect. Anyways.
An oil rig run by an FWA contracted mercenary group managed by Luis Arturo Santos.
Arturo Santos or something.
And his assistant Gia Scarletti to pick up a
Scarletti,
to pick up a TF-22 trans fighter.
Oh, these woke trans fighters. God, my brain is just destroyed. I'm sorry.
This game, actually, we need to change our entire view. This game was totally ahead of its a sophisticated aircraft that will ensure Zach's arrival to the Cyberia complex. Shortly after arriving, the oil rig is attacked by the cartel, and Zach and Gia defend the rig using gun turrets. The mercenaries, sensing betrayal, move to kill Zach by hunting him down and sabotaging the TF-22. Zach eventually steals the TF-22 and travels through several hostile locales en route to the Cyberia complex, a mountain range infested with cartel hover fighters, a cartel-run ocean lab, and a
ocean lab, Sea Lab 2021.
Hell yeah!
And a
commuter tunnel are among the places visited by Zach. Eventually, the TF-22 reaches the Cyberia complex, and Zach proceeds to wreak havoc on the cartel's analysis efforts while exploring the. Jesus Christ! Okay, there's one more. While exploring the complex, Zach encounters more than cartel soldiers and is forced to eradicate the complex. Scientists experimenting experimental virus which kills some of the soldiers. Oh god, it goes full Last of Us here. After purging the
There's a
virus
golf
from,
club in here somewhere.
you got to kill all the doctors using the flamethrower because you can.
Of course. Burn 'em to a crisp.
After purging the virus in the complex, Zack uncovers the Cyberian, an anamorphous collection of miniature rope. This is Metal Gear. This is Metal Gear.
I told you, man.
Miniature robots or nanites that have achieved sentience.
No, this is the plot of fucking. If you ever played that James Bond game, Everything or Nothing, like the whole plot of that game revolves around Willem Dafoe using like nanites and like making like a fucking platinum tank that can just like shoot nanites and like destroy buildings or whatever. I don't know if you remember that.
It's been a while, but that was one of the better ones, wasn't it?
That's my favorite Bond game of all of them.
Because they're all pretty good on PS2 now that I think about it, or PS2.
Yeah, the EA era was peak Bond era.
Except for that one on PS2 that's PS1 that's kind of But
which one was that? Tomorrow Never Dies.
Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah, that one's kind of
I mean, if that's your worst one, you're doing okay.
But where was I in this fucking disaster?
The nanites that have achieved sentience.
Achieve sentience. Devlin then contacts Zack to inform him the cyber hacker himself is a weapon.
Oh my god, the Metal Gear was in me all along.
Which Cyberian explains to mean a high yielded explode. Oh god, it's Metal Gear 5. God damn it.
Don't spoil it. I haven't played that game yet. I got to for the Metal Gear series.
Oh, trust me. Just saying that does not spoil anything.
Yeah, who fuck cares? That game wasn't finished anyways.
Exactly. That's not even in the main game. It's the prologue.
Ground Zeroes. Yeah, I played that.
Implemented into Zack's brain upon reaching the. Oh, he's got like a bomb in his brain. Fun. Upon reaching the Cyberia, Devlin has intended to detonate the device from orbit, eliminating the weapon and killing Zack simultaneously. Zack, frustrated over Devlin's betrayal and upon Cyberian's suggestion, merges with the Cyberian, which defuses the explosive device in Zack's head.
Because of course it does.
Mm-hmm. Together, Zack and the Cyberian launch into space to confront Devlin in an FWA space station, and the station's defenses are slowly crippled until the Cyberian and Zack make the final move and kill the treacherous Devlin by destroying the station. The resulting shockwave causes the Cyberian/Zack amalgamation to lose consciousness, while it plummets to Earth. Upon crashing, the FWA retrieval team, led by Dr. John Corbin, isn't that the guy? Isn't that Metallo and Superman? Anyways,
I think so.
Anyways, is heard hoisting up the remains of Cyberia and Zack into a helicopter, which I'm assuming leads to 2, but I have never played 2, so I have no idea. What the fuck? Like that. There's like 7 games within this plot that this game is like kind of a parallel to.
I'm looking at the credits, and there is no like set writer.
It was secretly Thomas Dolby all along.
It was Kojima. Well, because looking at it, there's a guy that says writer additional elements. And then there's somebody who's credited for the manual. There's Cyberia book writer, which I don't know what the hell that means. Like, does this game have a book?
I love how one of the bullet points in this on the back is an epic experience over 2 years in the making. This took them 2 years.
Back then, that was an eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the director of this game, he worked on a lot of the games we mentioned before, like Return to Castle Wolfenstein and all that. His last credit was a game called Cold Winter for the PS2. I've never seen that before in my life. The writer additional elements was a guy named James Thomas, and his most recent credit was Cyberia. Like, so maybe he was the writer of it, but like the other things he wrote were like, or did work on, was like games like The Magic Candle 3. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then the other guy was yeah. So I don't know. I don't know who to credit or blame for this.
the worst part is like it's not inherently a bad game. It's just such a convoluted mess. Like,
Yeah, and like what the game is trying to do, it's trying to be like a cinematic style game, but it just their knowledge of making games just does not mix with this at all.
this was also their first game, so they do get a little bit of a pass, especially because they went on to make much better stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, Cyberia 2 might be better.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It doesn't have a Wikipedia page, so that's not a great sign.
Yeah, it just has a little subsection within the Cyberia Wikipedia page.
Oh, it actually
It's on Steam. It's on Steam.
Apparently, it scored an 82 out of 100, according to Computer Game Review. And unlike its predecessor, it featured a rock soundtrack.
Oh, thank God.
We weren't blinded by science this time around.
And looking at the Steam trailer for Cyberia 2, it's basically just a rail shooter.
Oh, so
like
it's
like it gets rid of the weird like adventure aspects, and it's just a fucking like arcade shooter.
So they decided to make one game rather than
the first review is a true masterpiece of that time. They did a great job throwing out unfun parts of Cyberia and improving what was really fun. FMV shooting. I think FMV graphics got much better. There's now no separate difficulty for action and puzzle parts, and we can't use scanners manually.
So throwing out what was bad in the game. So pretty much 80% of the game, right?
Exactly. See, now you get it.
God damn this! You know,
and
what's
it's
funny,
under
though?
and it's under the Interplay label, so they put this out recently.
They
probably
they still own the rights. How funny is that?
Yeah, is the original Cyberia on here? I'm gonna find it. You talk. I'm gonna see if it's here.
So it's actually kind of funny too, because like when I was playing this, like I was getting Wing Commander vibes a little bit, just for like the whole like kind of adventure aspect. Not in a good sense. Just kind of this was like it was trying to be Wing Commander but failing miserably kind of sense.
This game wishes it was Wing Commander.
Yeah.
I love all the redneck Rampage games are on here. Oh yeah, they did Toonstruck. You ever played Toonstruck?
I don't know.
That is a like an FMV adventure point and click game that stars like Christopher Lloyd. As Christopher Lloyd, Ben Stein, Dan Castaneda, Tim Curry, and Dom DeLuise, which is like trying to be like a weird Who Framed Roger Rabbit type experience. I played it years ago, and it was actually like pretty cool. Yeah, and Interplay did that. Yeah, it's a cool game. There's a bunch of Star Trek games on here, like a Starfleet Academy, Judgment Rights, the 25th anniversary, MDK2. Earthworm Jim 2 and 3D are on here.
MDK2 is hilarious because that was made by BioWare of all things.
Yeah.
The first was
that's weird. No Earthworm Jim 1, just Earthworm Jim 2.
Yeah, because Shiny Entertainment made MDK, the first one.
Yeah.
It took me years to realize what MDK stood for.
What does it stand for, Bill?
Murder, Death, Kill.
There you go. They have a game called VR Soccer 96, which is not a VR game. It just looks like a FIFA game from that era. But yeah, the original Cyberia is on Steam.
Oh boy, what's it got for ratings on Steam?
Let's see. It's 11 incredible action sequences featuring realistic character interaction and challenging puzzles solving. Take control of the outlaw computer hacker Zach as you infiltrate a secret terrorist base to steal the ultimate doomsday device. Pilot several different vehicles, including a stealth fighter jet and it doesn't finish. Anyways, who fucking cares? Let's see. It has positive. Let's see. The first one, most people I know think I am talking about the adventure game Cyberia when I talk about Cyberia. This one is much older and is a real retro game. When I first got this game back in 95, I wasn't really into PC games. At that time, the only games I played were Doom and a motorcycle game called Cyclemania and, well, Rebel Assault. Then I read an article about Cyberia, a new sci-fi action adventure with amazing graphics, action sequences like Rebel Assault, and adventure gaming like Creature Shock. playing that demo got me hooked because it was just awesome at the time. This is a real blast from the past, I would say. Oh my god, it's a long ass review. I'm not reading all that.
Oh, there is another series called Cyberia, but it's spelled completely differently. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, just with an S instead of a C.
Yeah.
But yeah, people seem to people put on their nostalgia goggles with this one, I guess.
Yeah, because ratings wise for the time, it was pretty mixed. Like IGN gave it a 6 out of 10 for the PS1 version. Next Generation gave every version other than the Saturn 3 out of 5 stars. Maximum gave the Saturn version 3 out of 5 stars, and Sega Saturn Magazine gave it an 82. Good for them.
Yeah, why not? Sure. God, I don't know, man. Like this game was awful.
Apparently, all 4 versions are pretty much identical according to most reviewers. So,
yeah,
if you really want to play
crazy amount of differences.
If you really want to play it, you don't need to track down one of these boys or 3DO. You can play it on PlayStation or Steam.
Yeah, on Steam. Oh, I didn't give the price. On Steam, it's where is it? It's $10. Sure.
Yeah, if it's on sale, go for it.
Oh yeah. Like we're kind of in that weird lull where like we haven't had a lot of sales recently, just because it's like, you know, you had all those big holiday sales. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's like probably when we hit March, the more springtime, we'll probably get those sales going again. So just hang in there. Or you could just, you know, play Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance on Steam, which is on there as well.
They did make that.
Yeah. And people seem to like those games. So there you go. But yeah.
Yeah. This one is so weird because I was like, I hadn't played this until this review because I had been just kind of sitting on it. Boy, was I surprised when I played this.
As was I. I was expecting like a Shockwave type, like flight shooty boom boom game, and I'd be like, yeah, this will be fine. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I was not expecting.
It was not that. No, I was not expecting like a faux Metal Gear ass plot with Duke Nukem and spandex, where you kiss women and then they die immediately, and then like funny death scenes happen, and then it's like arcade rail shooter shit.
And suddenly John was a robot.
John was a robot, and you like diffuse bombs in your brain by hooking up to other robots. I don't know, man. I don't know. Just play Mass Effect.
Play Mass Effect or hell, like any other game. Like when I was playing
any other. It's not the worst game we've played on the show.
It's
not even close.
I won't even say it's a bad game. It was just
no.
This game, I'll say before we get to must play, okay, say away, but this game was just a what the fuck to me. The entire time, I was very bored, and I was kind of like, I don't want to play this, but at the same time, I was like, I need to know where the story goes because it was like so fucking weird and bizarre, and it like every second, I'm like, what? Excuse me? Okay.
Games like this are why I wanted to do 3DO in the first place. To be like, what weird ass shit is on this system that, like, even if it's not good, I'm going to be like, this was fucking crazy and I'll never forget it. And this definitely was one of those games.
This was right up there for me with like the Battle Tank story where I was like, what the fuck? Like, okay, I'm interested now.
Battle Tanks was awesome.
Battle Tanks was a fun game.
That was great
overall, but they both have like just batshit insane stories where I'm like, only in the 90s could you get away with a story like this without anyone questioning it.
Oh yeah, imagine doing that now. Oh,
if you did it now, people would be it would probably have a lot of parallels to things. I'm not going to get into it for obvious reasons, but like,
there's a couple things where you go like, man, they were a little on the nose with that.
When the fucking like when I saw 2027, I was like, this is purely this is purely a coincidence. I did not plan this.
We should have waited 2 years to fucking play.
I was like, dude, I'm not kidding. When I started the story, I'm like, okay, this is a little too
real,
unintentional here. I was like, damn, like. I'm like, I guess I'm glad we're getting this out of the way now.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing for what it is. in some ways.
I guess okay, we might as well get into must play. Okay, stay away. I don't want to say stay away because I feel
hell no, please do not stay far away. No, you need to experience this, everybody.
I don't want to exactly say it's a must play, but I do want to say give it a shot.
I it's an ironic must play.
Yeah, like
I mean, if we're gonna stick with the 90s, you know, irony was the thing back then. Like, ironically, must play, but in reality, it's okay.
Yeah,
the
game that's
like play it for like an hour. Like, do that. Play it for an hour to be like, what the fuck is this shit? And then you never have to play it again, and you're fine.
Yeah, emulate
it
if you can, and if not, I mean, $10 is not the worst.
Or you could just watch a YouTube playthrough. The game's like an hour and a half long.
Yeah, that's true.
So you just do that. Yeah, just like watch it like a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, Cyberia though. Like, holy shit.
Holy fuck, dude. What a game.
So what to play next week? I actually had an idea kind of to go along with a series that a friend of the show Josh from Still Living Podcast just announced. Do you want to do Wolfenstein next week?
Yeah, let's do Wolfenstein. I think we're going to have Nomad on for that.
Yeah, so we can reach out to him, and if not, we'll do something else in between. But it's going to be the next game as soon as we can.
It'll be coming up. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, because I actually am excited to try that port out because I've heard great things. So
I have played a fair amount of that port. So, but I will save my thoughts for next week.
Nice. But yeah, so Cyberia, what a fucking trip. That's about all you could really say about it.
Right.
But yeah, anyways, guys, once again, thanks for joining us on the 3DO Experience. The 3DO Experience can be found on all your major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out over on the Superpod Network. That's the superpodnetwork.com. You can find a whole bunch of awesome shows, videos, blogs, all sorts of awesome creators. I'm not naming them all anymore because that hurts my voice, but I think you get the gist these days. A whole bunch of awesome people. Highly recommend checking all of them out. I'm sure you'll see all of us on each other's shows over time.
Yes. And I don't know when it's coming out, but I have done the first proper episode of Solid Boys where me, Novel Console, Eric from the Unlockables, and Keith from Main Quest are playing through the entire Metal Gear series. We recorded the first episode, which is talking about Metal Gear on the MSX2. I'm not quite sure when that's going to be releasing in time with this, but it should be coming out fairly soon. So when I know for sure it's out, I will mention it in, say, the next episode or the episode after that. But stay tuned for that. So it was a good time. It's a good time.
Nice. Looking forward to listening to that.
As am I, so I can know what fucking Keith said half the time. Oh, his Wi-Fi is a pain in the ass.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us. We will see you all later.
Bye-bye.
If you're not playing on a 3DO system, what are you playing with?